Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Breaking 90 podcast. I am your host, Alex Harriman, and I'm here today with a special guest, Francesco Pavone, one of my peers in the fitness industry, somebody that I've been working alongside for the past couple of years, and I'm really honored to have him here today as a guest. So I'm excited for you guys to hear from him because I think he's going to have a lot of takeaways for you guys, and you're going to find this really informative. Francesco, thanks for being here.
Well, thanks for having me, Alex. It's funny, like one of our episode when you were at my podcast is one of the most listened episode in 2021. So I have to thank you for that.
That's cool. So maybe what I should do is link that podcast episode into the show notes for this. And anybody listening, if you want to go back and listen to the one that I did on Francesco's podcast last year, you'll probably get some stuff out of that you'll find useful too.
Totally.
Cool. So let's start off, Francesco. Tell us who you help, what you do in the fitness industry, who you help, and where you're at with that.
Sure, I love that. So basically, most of my clients are young dudes, people who have a kind of a busy life. They are usually professionals in their 30s, and usually they come to me because they want to look better at 30s that they did at 20. Most of my clients are busy. Either they have young families or they're single, but they have a busy life. So they can't spend hours at the gym. They usually train 3 to 4 times a week. And they have mostly like health and aesthetic goals. So they just want to be a little bit healthier and also like bring a different physique, get some results that they struggle to see when they train, and they try to do this on their own.
Okay, awesome. So this is very similar to who I work with, except that I work with women primarily. Would you right off the hop say that there's a lot of similarities in the way that you would work with a male or a female, or would you say that it's vastly different?
I would say that is actually more similar than what most people like to believe. But I think like there are some differences. So hopefully we can come up with some practical tips that both of our audiences can benefit from.
Absolutely. And I agree with you. I feel like it is a very, very similar thing. It's one of those things where most people believe that they need to be training based on their gender. But the truth is that we can draw very close similarities, especially if the goals line up.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
You have like
go ahead.
Many people can for example, that's a problem that I sometimes have because even like I think most of my clients kind of identify with me when they come to me, when they contact me first. They kind of like aim for like a similar physique, which it's not something that I necessarily like because it scares people off. Some people are afraid, they say, I like to get in shape, but not like you, not so much, right? I don't want to be like a bodybuilder. And mostly like the female population is a little bit scared, which is like definitely a challenge for us online coaches because our body, our appearance, we can as well like dig deeper into that if it's important or not. But sometimes like you see a coach that like looks amazing and you might think, okay, I'm never gonna get there, which is a mistake because you shouldn't hire a coach for his appearance or his physical shape, but mostly for what he preach and what he talks about.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And it's interesting because I think more often the male population will want to really get that physique that you're talking about. And sometimes the female population is a little bit nervous that if they start lifting heavy, if they start exercising frequently, that they're going to start to look too much that way in a way that they don't want to look.
Yeah. So perhaps we can already like calm everyone and like make everyone sure that it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of dedication, even outside the gym, to build a lot of muscle. So what most people say, most people think, okay, they're gonna gain 20 kilos of muscle in the first 3 months of training, but it's not gonna happen. Like that's like and that one thing that helped me, particularly tackling this challenge. It's thinking that most people in their lifetime can gain up to 50 pounds. We're talking like male population. Women, like I don't know many women who gain like more than 40 pounds of muscle in their life. And naturally, we're always talking about like drug-free. We don't work with like people who use a PED. and just natural lifters. So, you know, knowing this upper limit usually like make people more comfortable because they say, okay, so yeah, and that's like already for someone who does a really good job with nutrition and lifestyle. Now we're talking about natural people who compete in physique competitions. So the average lifter, and I hate to use the term like general population, yeah, because we are all like very specific individuals. But yeah, like the general gym goer, like will probably like end up gaining way less muscle than that.
Right. So what I'm hearing here is that you didn't wake up overnight looking like a Greek god. You had to work hard for that.
Yeah, totally. And that's like down to what I like to do, right? So I love training. I find like I'm passionate about training. When I used to be a professional swimmer, before being an online coach, I dedicated my whole life to swimming and professional swimming. I basically like, you know, I was in love with training. I hated competition. Funny enough, I was really like scared before a competition. I got really emotional. It was like a lot of stress. But training, man, I was in love with training. Even after a bad competition, I would go back to it and train it. So there is like, I think like part of my, you know, appearance, it's down to the fact that I love what I do. So that's
awesome.
Something that I always try to preach.
That's something that I wanted to touch on, because anybody who's listening to this, if you go check out Francesco's Instagram, you're going to see that he has a very impressive physique, and it's something he's worked very hard at. So I wanted to touch on the fact of where you came from, how you got here. So how did this fitness journey start for you?
Yeah, it's funny because I recently hired a coach. So yeah, if you were wondering, I'm one of those coaches who has a coach. And we were talking about like how I got into like lifting, and more like lifting with the idea of getting stronger and more muscular without necessarily like looking like huge. I'm not super comfortable when I get to a point where I'm like slightly softer. So I always like have a look that I gain muscle at an appropriate rate. So yeah, like I think bodybuilding chose me because I can recall when I was, and I got to a quite good level in swimming. So I took part to a couple of world championship and European championship. Didn't go to the final, but you know, being in the top 20 in the world is definitely something for most people. And I got there, and I remember like one of the coaches at some point, I think I was like 23, 24. So I was kind of becoming more like a man than a boy. And one of the coaches looked at me and was like, Pavone, like, you don't need to be a bodybuilder to be a good swimmer. And I remember that I took it in, and at the time I took it offensively, right? I took it as I didn't belong to that group. So, you know, years later, I started to train more frequently, and then I became a personal trainer, and I kept loving training until the point where I was like, okay, why not bring in this to a different level? Not just to win, because I had enough of competition during my life from swimming. And I, you know, as I said, I was not so much into competition and the stress related to that. I like the idea of progressing though and getting better. So bodybuilding is perfect for that because you can appreciate the progress for many years of doing this. You potentially like can keep progressing in some ways for your whole life. So at some point I was like, okay, you know, I'm definitely like quite responsive to lifting weights. You know, I can see I am quite talented compared to the people that I have around or that I train with. So let's give back something. So I booked my first show in 2019, and I hired my first coach. And it went well. So I placed third in the UK at the Southern Classic. Wow. I competed as men's physique. And, you know, it continued growing from there. So I became really passionate about the art, which is more an art than a science of building muscle, and as well the, you know, that's for me. That's my personal passion. I'm not a bodybuilding coach. I don't work with bodybuilders and powerlifters. I do it for me. That's my personal thing. And I like to share my journey. So yeah, on Instagram, you'll find a lot of that.
That's awesome. And I love following your stuff on Instagram. You put out great content.
Thanks, man.
There's a couple things that you said there, and I took a couple notes so that I can circle back to them that really resonated that I'd like to touch on. So the first one that you mentioned is that you yourself have a coach. And I do too, and it's something that I've always done, and my listeners have heard me talk about it lots in the past. I think anybody with serious goals could benefit from having a coach. So what do you look for in a coach when you're looking to hire a coach?
Great question. Yeah, totally. I think not only like everyone can benefit from a coach, but everyone will benefit from having a coach. Like I always say this to my client, even like, I don't know, last year that I didn't work with a coach. After my show for like 1.5 years, I work alone, I work out alone and follow my own nutrition. And then I was like, okay, if I really want to get better and learn and keep learning, I need to work with a coach. So that's the first aspect, keep learning and keep evolving, because you can always like we have this idea that once you, and this is very often happening in fitness, when people get a result, they say, yeah, I know how to do this, so I don't need a coach anymore, right? So it's not that a coach, it's only beneficial to those who need it. Everyone will have better results with a coach. Just take for example, training. Okay, when you have a coach that have a look at your training, in particular, like how you do every single set. Take, for example, a muscle group that you struggle to grow. Maybe someone struggle to have, I don't know, a bigger chest or bigger back, or struggle to feel his hamstring when he does a deadlift. Okay, cool. You have a coach. Now you are learning how to do that exercise better for you, which is to me like has no price, right? Mm-hmm. So it's super. If you are serious about getting results, working with a coach is the way to go. The second aspect is more like, I would say, recognition. So I like the idea of doing this with someone else as a part of a team and getting better as a team. So not only like I get better results, but also I can give back something to the coach, not just in terms of testimonial, but really like as a result, and make this a fun journey. I think we can both agree that when you share like your journey with someone else, it's much more fun.
Absolutely. Something you mentioned there that I've experienced lots in the past. So when I first started my journey, I've worked primarily with men, actually. And one of the reasons that I switched to working more with women is because of something you mentioned there. I find that working with men, especially young men, they can often feel like they don't need the help, or that they already know what they think they should do to get to their goals. And I experienced that a lot with young men when I was working with young men, that they wanted to do everything independently. They liked the idea of having a coach, but didn't really want to listen to the coach. How do you find you break through that barrier if somebody's in that mindset?
That's a good question, because like you get this, I work with a lot of people like that. I have to say, like there are a lot of clients in my team who likes independency and like to know, and this is like part, I think, of the human psychology. Like we like to know that we can do this alone. Okay, which is cool. Like I think it's fantastic if someone likes to be independent and it's one of his values. Awesome. So we definitely like include some sort of independency in the workout program, or we start every coaching call with like letting the client lead the call in terms of where like which topics are going to be discussed. So because usually like with those people, it's very clear, and I know this because I learned this on my skin. When I started being a personal trainer, I would try to force my like philosophy into those people and be like, okay, imagine someone that likes to train to failure. Like you get especially like this busy manager who, you know, have only 30 minutes 4 days a week to work out. And they basically go to failure in every exercise because they learn that that's the fastest way to get some results. So they're constantly tired. And at some point, like they do this for a couple of weeks and maybe like they are so burned out or their immune system is so fragile that, you know, they have to stop because either they get sick or because they injure themselves. So with those people, I would say, hey, man, you know, we can't go to failure. We need to start, you know, leaving some more repetition in reserve. And, you know, those people, they push back. Or maybe they say, you know, they're going to listen to you, but on Monday, they do, you know, what they want. So, you know, trying to lead them with strength didn't work for me. So by opening up the conversation of and talking about, hey, you know, that is what you know that has, you know, that worked for you in the past, and that there is also what will give you the best results. Which one, like, they're both fine with me. Which one would you choose? Right. And they usually say, choose the result. And then we dig deeper into how. So if eventually, like, perhaps they get like a little bit bored about having the same strict program for 4 weeks. I usually keep my programs 4 to 5 weeks and then update them. Have a part of the workout that leaves them a little bit of flexibility. So for example, like an isolation exercise or isolation, like 3 or 4 exercises where I as a coach select the muscle group and they choose the exercise.
Cool.
I know that probably like, there won't be any harm made.
Yeah, that's a great strategy. I mean, I think you're exactly right. I think it is human nature for us to feel like we know the best way to do something or the way that we want to do something or enjoy doing something. But the truth is, if they've come to one of us for help or a coach for help, then they probably aren't getting the results that they want. They need some of that help, right?
Yeah, totally.
One thing that I picked up on earlier is how passionate you are about your own training. I think that's amazing. So what I hear a lot, and people that I work with a lot, they're the opposite. They don't enjoy the training, but they know that having some training in their life could make some of the differences that they're hoping to achieve. Do you have any tips or strategies for the person who maybe hasn't yet found their passion for fitness?
Yeah, so that's another great point, because like apart from like the people who already decided to join the team, I have a lot of conversations with my friends or like the partner of my friends, and like they basically, a lot of people don't like to train, or a lot of people like don't like the idea of like sweating or like doing an effort on a daily basis. So to those people, I would recommend the book Flow. Flow. Don't try to, make me pronounce the second name, but I remember the first name of the author is Mikhail. So Mikhail. Okay. So it's great because in the book, basically there is this concept which is explained beautifully of doing something that rewards us, but that is also challenging in some ways. So I find myself like, and probably you can relate, Alex, where, you have to do a heavy deadlift. So you have the bar on the floor and you decide to get like to a new weight. But that weight is not like thinking about, taking a holiday to the Bahamas. It's like challenging. And, depending on the time of the day or depending on your nutritional intakes and other many factors, the stress, what's going on in your life, it might be more or less difficult. But certainly if you do it, then you feel better after, right? Mm-hmm. So in my experience, like the people who feel like that, or feel like they don't like exercise, they don't like fitness, they don't like effort in general, they struggle to lose weight usually, or, just to feel good with themselves. But it's because they haven't experienced like a good positive feeling after a workout. It's usually right, because they do group exercise classes. And so like they see like the effort, but they don't see much in return. And also they don't see much if they don't train for a day. So to those people, like it's challenging, but I definitely start with something they like. So don't think about training like in the classic way. Just think about movement. What is like one movement activity that is not related to working out that you like and that you can do, say, 3-4 times a week for 15-20 minutes? Sometime those people like dancing. Hey, I'm just been 4 weeks in lockdown here in Austria, which has been tough. And this is my studio. So it's not a big studio and I work here. So and I don't know German. So I can't say that I have a lot of social contact at the moment, which is definitely important for health, but I need to have fun. Apart from my workout, remember that I'm passionate about working out. So my workout is like my meditation. Apart from it, sometimes I just put the earphones, slam the music up, and I just dance alone. Oh. All right. That, get me on my feet. It lower my cortisol. Okay. Probably increase a little bit my testosterone. And yeah, it makes me burn a little bit of calories, which is, if fat loss is your goal, go ahead. You can do even half an hour every day. And, that's like not a super sponsored way or like advertised way to lose weight, but certainly is fun. I love it. Yeah, we can talk about other if you want, but yeah, dancing is one of them.
I love that. We have a couple guiding principles in Breaking 90 Fitness, and one of them is that something is always better than nothing. So I think it's really easy for people to get caught up in that mindset that like, hate the gym. I've always had negative experiences in the gym. I don't want to start at the gym. I don't want to be doing 4 or 5 days a week at the gym. But starting with something simple, like you're saying, something that you love doing can have such a huge impact for people.
Huge impact because now you are suddenly not like focusing on completing a certain workout program, but like you're focusing on doing something that you like. Fucking hell, that's huge. Now we can even expand a little bit more, and we can say that to the people, like we all know that there are a whole bunch of benefits linked to resistance training and to like physical activity. Perfect.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't like to do it, my question is, are you supposed to like it? Are you supposed to like it every day and like on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 all the time? Or is it like there are some incongruency here, or maybe like some different expectations? So some people like maybe have the idea that they should like every day what they do. Now, I work out fasted every morning, 7 to 9, pretty much. That's how I like to do it. I have to say, like 40% of the time, I don't feel like working out.
Yeah, for sure.
But I know that when I never regret working out. I always feel better. My brain feels better. So to me, it's like it's an easy pick. It's one of those low-hanging fruit. I'd rather go to the gym than not go and kind of regret it. But to the other people, like another question a couple of questions that I would ask them is, what's good about not working out? And what's bad about working out? And then take it from there. Like you already are going to pull yourself out of that situation and, start seeing the, working out a little bit more objectively.
Yeah, that's huge when you reframe it with that mindset. And I think with anything, really anything that we do, we don't typically enjoy doing something that we are not good at. So
Exactly.
A lot of people talk about hating running, for instance, but most people run a couple times per year. You're for sure going to hate running if you only run a couple times a year. It's going to be actual hell. But if you slowly increase your capability to run, you get a little bit good at it and you start doing it consistently, you might surprise yourself. And I think the same thing goes with resistance training, with being in a gym, with doing exercise. I think you're going to hate it if you only do it sporadically, because it's not one of these changes that you're going to start doing for a week and by next week you're going to be proficient, you're going to be an expert at this. This takes time. But as you start to see these changes, as you start to get better at exercising, most people are going to find some level of passion in there.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Totally. I would totally agree. And the comeback is always more challenging than continuing. Had this conversation actually this week with a client. But it's funny because in the past, I was working in London as a personal trainer. And I remember this client came to me and her goal was to run consistently 5 days a week. I said, okay, let's expand a little bit more. Tell me a little bit more about your goal. I'm curious. I want to know more. And she was like, yeah, I just want to, be consistently. And that's very clear. 5 days a week, I want to run. And I said, okay, how many days a week are you running now? Oh, I'm not running. It's like, okay, maybe like that's like a big jump. So how do you feel about starting with 2 days a week, half an hour each? And she looked at me like kind of weird. And she was like, well, what's the point about what's the point of running 2 days a week if I can't run 5 days a week? So many people have already an idea of what they should be doing for their kind of body type or for what was their whole set of experience in the past. Now, funny story, after 2 months working with that client, we find out that her real goal was to lose weight and to feel lighter so that she could join a running team. Because at that time, when she came to me, she didn't feel like ready. So, the point here is, we need to dig deeper. We need to dig deeper onto, what are the goals that you say you want to achieve, because you might not want to achieve those goals really. Okay. And I speak out of experience. I dedicated my whole life to swimming, reach a very good level, world championship. And then I realized that was not what I wanted. So, it can really it can really have a profound effect on your life. So that's important that you find out now why you want to achieve your goals. So I'm sure you're familiar with the exercise of the 5 whys but I like to go deeper into 5 levels, and just to every time that you ask why you want to achieve your goal, to that answer, ask yourself again, why? 5 times, and then you'll find like a more realistic reason and more meaningful reason why is that important for you. That will be crucial, because when you don't feel motivated, when you feel like, maybe I'm not on track, maybe I'm not following the right strategy, you are still having the right purpose, the right goal for you. And you're not just trying to achieve someone else's goal.
And I think for a lot of people who haven't devoted their lives and their careers and their journeys to health and fitness, it's easy to get caught up in the belief of that what I'm doing is the way to get to X results. So for instance, your client who wanted to run 5 days a week, she probably thought that running was the best way to get there. And then when you educated her and showed her that there's other ways, I mean, she was probably completely open to that idea of it, right?
Totally. Yeah, and absolutely. And like the particular client like also enjoyed more like a regular resistance training program, because I really like the first weeks, I said, okay, let's just keep like running as on the side. You keep running, but like maybe like 1 day a week. And we really focus on making progress at the gym. And funny enough, like she got in love with the resistance training program. And then she was able to join the running team without ever running. So she got better at running whilst she was in the team, but she got ready for the team without running, which is, it might sound counterintuitive, but we know that counterintuitive idea most of the time are successful.
Absolutely. We have to make ourselves uncomfortable in order to grow. It's that all or nothing mindset too, where she, like, for instance, she thought she had to do it 5 days a week and you suggested 2 days a week. I mean, I've fallen into the same trap. When I was younger and I had more time, I would exercise for 2 hours a day. And now that I have a family, I have a son, I have other obligations, I fell into that all or nothing trap initially, thinking, well, if I can't exercise for 2 hours a day, why even bother? This is frustrating. And you can see how easily it is to slip into that headspace. But now what I've done for myself is I've just spread it out a bit more. So I'll do 45 minutes a day, but I might do an extra day or 2 per week. And I've still been able to move towards my goals. So it's very, very easy to slip into that mindset, even as somebody in the industry. So you can see how easy it would be for somebody who isn't in the industry.
Yeah. So Alex, what do you do? Do you work out at home? Do you have like a gym at home? Yeah.
I do. I have a gym at home. And I also have a gym membership for the days where I just need to really separate myself from the house and get a good solid workout in. But most of the time I work out at home, and it's quite honest, it's a 45-minute workout with warm up, exercise, a little bit of a cool down. It takes me 45 minutes. And if I had thought back 10 years ago that my workout would be 45 minutes, I wouldn't have believed it.
Yeah. You would think
right?
that is suboptimal, right?
Yeah.
But, so that's the other thing. Like, you see what other people are doing, and not only like your friends or your colleagues. Like at the time, like we spend way more time on social media and on the internet, so we are exposed a lot more, in my opinion, to what most people describe as the comparison syndrome. So you basically like compare yourself to the top third people in the between the people that you respect and that you look up to. Right. So say that, I don't know, to me it could be anything. It could be like fitness related, business related, relationship. And we have a whole idea of ourselves, and we compare ourselves to those people. And once we are in the top third, if we are believing in that and we are exposed to the comparison syndrome, we tend to lose interest toward that goal. This is tying well back to what we were discussing earlier, of the people who achieve a certain result and then they say, oh, okay, I know how to do this, I don't need you anymore. Okay. There might be a problem there, because you really wanted to get in shape, and now you got in shape, and suddenly it's not important for you anymore. So was it really your goal, or are you just thinking about this as a problem to fix? And once it's fixed, end of the story, you can lock the gym, feet on the table, and you don't need to work out anymore. Chances are this is a lifestyle, And there are certainly like how I like to see it. That's something as well that makes people more comfortable. It's like, think about training as a volume knob. So you can go all out. You were talking earlier about spending hours at the gym. I had the idea when I stopped being a professional swimmer that I had to do fasted cardio in the morning. So I remember like I was living in the UK at the time. So it was super cold, gray, mostly like raining. And I remember that I would go for a run, 10K run every morning. And then I would hit the gym in the evening. And that was my idea of lean bulking, right? So I thought, okay, if I do extra fasted cardio, I'm going to build muscle, but I'm not going to gain fat. I'm going to burn the fat and build the muscle. Didn't work that way. And it doesn't work that way still as of today. But, I wish I knew it earlier, because that's what I had in my mind. So you need to be, just to clarify, I think you need to be open to new strategies and open to learning. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely open to learning, because I know on my journey, and I imagine yours similar, like there's things that I believed in as a trainer early on that I now realize aren't the best way or could be done differently. And more importantly, that there isn't one correct way to achieve your goals. There's in fitness and health, there's a million different ways to do this. And it doesn't mean that one is right, because every person needs something a little bit differently.
Yeah, for sure. There are different, and that's a great point, because when we start working with the client, you have all these different things that you can work on. You can work on your nutrition. And again, nutrition is not only one big action. Actually nutrition can be, hundreds of actions. What are you focusing on? Are you going to focus on eating more nutrients, more protein? Are you going to focus on how you behave in a certain meal? Are you going to focus on meal prep? Or you can focus on nutrition. So you can focus on training, you can focus on lifestyle, you can focus on your mindset. There are many different places to start, and they can all lead to the same end goal. That's the beauty of working with a coach. But again, it doesn't have to be a coach. It could be as well a supportive community. There are many online. And I think, I met a few coaches in my life, and they're all good people. So even if it's just like a free advice, I think it's always worth asking. Just send that message. Reach out to the person, the closest person to you that knows, what might be good for you. Because the chances are that, you don't need to be an expert, but you will benefit a lot from an expert advice.
And it is good to hear the different viewpoints too. That's something that I often emphasize with my own clients, is that you need to question things. You need to do some of your own research. You need to hear it from multiple points. Even the things that I'm telling you, it's worth hearing it from other places. It's worth doing some of your own research, because I don't have the only correct answer for you. Your journey is different than everybody else's journey. So it might look a little bit different. You might need to hear it in a different manner or a different way of doing things. And that's totally okay.
It's okay. And I don't know about you, Alex, but we have a WhatsApp chat. I was against the idea because I respect, boundaries in my life. I set clear boundaries when it comes to business and life. So I didn't want to, have my clients contact me at all times. I like them to know when they can contact me. But, out of 30 clients, 25 asked for the WhatsApp group. So I wanted to create this. And in the WhatsApp group, you see different messages, because again, I work with people, but the age group, it's between 25 and 45. So someone who is like 28 and and got in great shape with counting calories. So with calorie counting, and that approach of like having a constraint. So having a calorie goal, having some macronutrients goal, and, locking numbers, and, that kind of mindset is one set of mindset. But then you have someone else who did the other way around. So started to lose weight and fat without counting calories and perhaps without exercising. So just with like lifestyle changes and changing their environment and changing how they behave with each meal. So recognizing their internal cues, hunger and satiety. And then they got into calorie counting just to perhaps build muscle once they lost weight. And you have these different messages. So perhaps someone asked a question, hey, hi guys, how do you manage a social situation? Now you have the calorie counting guys who says, simple, just log the calories from alcohol first, and then, work your way back and adjust the day. So you're still going to have breakfast and lunch, but you're having slightly different, just a little bit more lean, so that you can buy yourself some calories for the evening. And then you have other people who didn't do calorie counting, but did well and, you know, have different tips. So maybe they say, hey, just first, remember you are the boss, so you can make good decisions. Second, you know, just behave normally, enjoy the evening. You don't need to smash yourself, enjoy the people, and, you know, follow your intuition just without thinking that it's a black and white situation where, you know, even one glass of wine can put you off track and everything is bad. And, you know, then the fuck it mentality kicks in, and, you know, the whole weekend might leave a bad feeling. So it's not necessary. But that's interesting. Going back to what we were discussing, that there are certainly different ways to deal with a particular situation and different strategies for the same goal.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you mentioned nutrition, and we don't have to dig into it seriously, but I think circling back to people finding their passion for fitness, they often get discouraged with fitness because their nutrition isn't lining up with their fitness, right? Like somebody starts exercising and allows themselves to eat worse, and then they don't see the results they want, and they get frustrated thinking that the fitness had the negative outcome, when really a little bit of focus on the nutrition maybe would have made all of the difference there for that individual.
Man, that's one of the biggest challenge, I think, like not knowing what is the weak link. Because let's say that someone decided to start this journey from getting consistent workouts in. Now it's very important to have the realistic expectations in that regards, because as soon as you are consistent, some people expect like to lose a certain amount of weight because of that. But chances are that if you don't have a strategy in place, now I think this is fantastic what you said, because really, like someone decided to work out. Is not that they shouldn't think about their nutrition, or they shouldn't, do anything else in terms of their diet. If you exercise and you start to exercise consistently, you will want to change your nutrition. You will think, okay, is my nutrition actually aligned to this new lifestyle? And so like, that's how the beauty of like having a positive growth oriented mindset is, because you can, you start seeing this cascade effect with people like coming to the coach and asking for advices. Best thing ever, because that's from your curiosity, and when you wonder how can you do better, that's how you start implementing what really can work for you.
Just getting that clarity can make all the difference, right?
I really think that the success of the client depends by the quality of the question that he asks to the coach. Sometimes you think, okay, I'm going to get a coach. Perfect. He's going to help solve all my issues. But again, the coach is not there to solve an issue or to fix something that is broken. You're not broken. You just want to achieve a certain goal. And the coach can help you with a certain tool, but you need to go and squeeze the coach like a lemon.
And you still got to put in the work, right? Like it's totally. It's the same thing as people looking for the fad diets or the quick fixes, especially this time of year, coming into the new year. I mean, people are looking for the quick solution. Well, a coach still isn't the quick solution, at least a proper coach. They're going to guide you. They're going to show you. They're going to help you find what way works for you, but you're still going to have to put in the work.
Yeah. And I'm actually curious, Alex, let's say that, you have a client who start exercising. And for example, let's say someone who try intermittent fasting. I'm sure you work with someone as such, and, they start intermittent fasting and perhaps they are hungry the first few days, but they stick through and they don't see a lot of results. How do you take it from there? Because usually like that kind of client can get quite discouraged from that, from trying something that doesn't work straight away.
Yeah, absolutely. My whole belief system falls on sustainable progress. So we talk about sustainability a lot, and the fact that quick progress is not typically sustainable for most people. In order for us to make quick progress, we need to make bigger sacrifices. If you can make those bigger sacrifices in your life, then you'll probably see quicker progress. But does that once you make those bigger sacrifices, does this all of a sudden become unsustainable for you, right? Can you do this for a long time? Can you do this forever? So if you're not seeing those immediate results, it's frustrating. It's frustrating for everybody, regardless of who you are and what your knowledge is. It's frustrating to not see those results. But we know that consistency is what's going to drive results. So specifically with fat loss, what typically happens is people see the big drops on the scale, they get excited. They see the spikes on the scale, they get frustrated. And it doesn't mean that you've done anything right or wrong. You're probably retaining a little bit of water, and it's completely normal. But it's frustrating. So just if you're on that journey, if you're at that point where you think you should be seeing quicker results, try not to get too caught up in the day-to-day, because you probably are making progress. You probably are losing fat. That bathroom scale isn't going to be what dictates your success 100%. Over time, it'll probably show you the trend you want to see, but day-to-day, it's just telling you a little bit about water retention, and those sticking points are a completely normal part of the journey.
Yeah, and I like what you said about the sustainability. I totally can relate. I think, the key is to find something that you can sustain. And if we go back to the volume knob metaphor, like you can take this and, it could be your consistency with your diet. It could be how much you are, pushing the calorie deficit. We can talk about it, but no, I'm saying something. Yeah. I'm going to finish later, but you can raise the volume, so you can go all in. So that's you exercising hard. That's you like really eating mainly protein and vegetables, and leaving a lot of space at each meal. So maybe you eat until you're 70 to 80% full. And that can boost your result. So you should be able to see a return on the investment, but it's also more expensive. So it's difficult to sustain it on the long term. And I'm gonna say something that perhaps is a little bit against the trend, but I was eating like around 1,500 calories this summer, which for a guy of 95 kilos is like very little. And that's very little for most people. Is even little for some women. So how is it possible that I preach like sustainability, but I eat 1,500 calories to get in shape? Well, because like I have the tools that are necessary for mastering this and knowing like how to change, after the diet is finished. I did it for 4 weeks, so it's only 1 month, which is during the summer. So I did it also in a place which was very hot. So I didn't really feel like eating a lot. So my whole set of environment and my knowledges and my past made these strategies quite like feasible for me. And, I was able to get in shape without taking too much time off my muscle building training. And I was happy. Now, someone who joined the program and see this will think, oh my God, I'm going to do it myself too. And that might not be the best idea. Actually, for some people, it's the worst idea.
For sure. Yeah, no, I agree with that, Francesco. I think there's a time and a place to push hard, and there's a time and a place to coast, and that's completely fine. We definitely build that in throughout our cycles too with clients. When they want to push hard, we can push hard, but we can't fall into that all or nothing mindset where it's push hard, fall off the rails, push hard, go crazy, because you're never going to get anywhere if you do that.
Yeah, totally. And it's not like that. Like if you have that feeling that, if, you stop working hard for a week, everything will be lost, like during Christmas. Chances are maybe like for 2 weeks, you won't exercise and you will eat like a little bit more and more tasty food. Awesome. But you're also going to spend time with your friends, your family, and you're going to recharge the batteries. Now, if you also are into getting stronger and perhaps getting a little bit more muscle, well, that's an occasion. That's a perfect occasion, because stress is usually lower from work. Maybe like you have some different source of stress, like making sure that you do everything. But for muscle building, it's perfect. You have extra calories. You'll probably find some protein on the table. So awesome. I always preach like that with my clients and say, if you are building muscle during this phase, and I hear that you're worried, I kick you out of the team. Okay. Because like there is no reason to be worried. And it's important to have that conversation in your mind before Christmas and just decide like, how are you going to deal with that situation? But thinking that like you are really like your margin for error is very thin, that if you need to be very careful about it's not how we work. It's not how we function. It's not how we are supposed to live.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I love the way that you put that. So Francesco, I want to be respectful of your time. I appreciate you being here. I think everybody's gotten a ton of value from this. What I want to make sure that we have time for, and so that the listeners can benefit, where can they follow you? Where can they find you if they want to dig a little bit deeper into your philosophies and the things that you're doing in the fitness industry?
Sure. So basically, people can find me at Pavone Fitness on Instagram. I'm very active. I share reels, stories, and all that. And also, they can read my articles at www.pavonefitness.com. You can find me on Facebook, where I'm active too. I'm managing two Facebook groups. So they are called the Lean Muscle Warriors. One is in Italian. So if you're Italian, you can join the Italian group. There are a little bit more people. And the Lean Muscle Warriors in English speaking, it's the English group. Also, I have a podcast, so the one where I interview your host, Alex, and it's called the Lean Muscle Warriors podcast. We release one episode every Wednesday. So actually, our episode this week went live an hour ago. So
Awesome.
Yeah, that's about it, man. Thank you so much
Okay.
for.
So what I'll do then is I'll put all of those in the show notes so that you guys can follow along and you can reach out to Francesco and ask him some questions, because I'm sure there's going to be some people that want to dig deeper into this. But thank you, Francesco. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time. You've provided a lot of value today, and I think people can benefit from that a lot. So if you guys are listening to this, if you found it beneficial, please leave us comments, leave us reviews, take a screenshot, share it to your Instagram story, and tag us both in it. The way that we continue to grow our podcast, the way that we can continue to help people is by you guys sharing this. So we really appreciate you doing that too. And if you found value, please let us know. Thank you all for being here. Hope you enjoyed the show, and have a great day.